Hey viewers, welcome to VL Astrology. Once again, I'm Vanitha Lenka. I'm a Vedic astrologer and I use the Sidereal Zodiac to predict. And that's the reason Mercury is going to be transiting Scorpio sign. It's going to be joining Sun and Ketu there. And on the 5th of December, Mars is also going to be joining, the ruler of Scorpio. Mercury is going to be in the Scorpio sign from the 21st of November till the 10th of December. Is going to be combust till the 21st of December this year. So it's going to be feeling a little uncomfortable, of course, here because of Ketu's presence. Ketu eclipses Sun and Moon, the luminaries, and we've just had a lunar eclipse. And soon after that, this Mercury is going to be here. So it's a very heavy conjunction. Why? Because Mercury is our communication, intellect, logical thinking, analysis, and the market trends. And when Mercury is going to this deep sign of Scorpio, we become very inquisitive about people, inquisitive about market. And of course, with Ketu, there's a lot of detachment, isolation. Isolation in what? Isolation could be maybe, you become very research oriented, the deep thinking, you get into that zone. And of course, you can isolate yourself from your relatives. You can isolate yourself from your father figures because it's the Sun after all. Sun is the authority. Maybe you can have some communication gap with authorities. Anything can happen in this sign of Scorpio, which is a secret sign, which is a very unpredictable kind of a sign. And Mars, being the ruler of this Scorpio sign, is also going to be joining. So there can be a lot of aggression in people during this time. And there can be a rigorous kind of a drill that you'll be going through, in whatever you're doing. And it's good for, of course, the aggression that is required in our work in the market. So there's a lot of up and down that we can feel in the market trends during this time. People who are in the education industry or in the business, trade, commerce, so they are going to be feeling the brunt of this Ketu and Mercury combination. There can be some major ventures which can come up. But yes, it's good for the research-oriented people who are doing some research or who are going to be initiating any kind of research. So it's definitely positive for them. Or maybe, you're more involved in the spiritual pursuits. Obviously, Ketu wins here in this conjunction because Ketu is the one who eclipses Sun, Moon. So does Rahu, of course. So it's one and the same thing, yet they are different. So in this deep sign, secretive sign of ruled by Mars, there can be some scandals, the authorities, senior authorities. So you have to be really careful about your ego when you are having some kind of conversation with people, authoritative people, especially in the government. If you have any kind of documentation, PR, or you have to apply for visa, you have to be really careful. Initiation of any kind of education should be avoided, should be ruled out when Mercury is with Ketu, or there can be some break, some deviation from the conventional path. You can make wrong decisions during this time. Be careful, be watchful. So what's good about it is that Mercury in the 8th sign or the 8th house is not considered to be that bad because it doesn't get that dosha, the blemish of being in the 8th house, and behaves as the other planets he is conjunct with. So Mars is going to be till the 10th, till the 5th of December, in the Libra sign. So this Mercury will behave like Mars also, will behave like Ketu also, and will become like Sun because Mercury changes his nature as per the planet he's conjunct or in the sign he is. So we have to tame our aggression in communication with people, authorities, and we can sail through this as well. So I will be sharing the screen and I will be showing you what exactly is going to be happening for all the 12 ascendants of the moon sign. Whichever resonates more with you, hear both and then decide for yourself which one matched up more. You are the best judge. You should decide. And if at all you feel that there is more affliction on your moon, then I think you should listen from the ascendant. All right. I follow the ascendant. So let's start with the predictive. All right. For Aries natives, Mercury is going to be transiting through your 8th house, being the lord of the 3rd and the 6th. So any kind of competition success is on cards. In case you have to initiate any kind of education, you should take a break. You should think about it logically. Not a good time for taking any kind of loans, debts. It will be difficult to pay off. Not a good time for investments also. Just lie low. This is not the time to make hasty decisions. Good for research-oriented mindset. It is going to be very positive for that. Investments, of course, I would suggest be careful. There can be some health issues your partner has to go through. So maybe some skin related issues or something to do with your stomach related issues. So eat right during this phase. Because Rahu is also in the second house. So this brings about, cooking up stories, lies, communication gap with people. So you have to be careful as to what are your relations with your siblings and your neighbors and the rest of the people around you, immediate circle that you move around in. So the best remedy that I can give you is chant Ganesha chant and donate something, green cereals, green pulses, you can donate, or anything in green, maybe some cloth or something which is, you can just wrap the green dal, the pulses, and then you can donate. That also is good for you. Okay, especially for the Aries people. You're already feeling, the energy with the sun in the 8th house, you're feeling you're having competition, you're having some kind of problems with the authorities. And with Mercury going there, you can go harsh in your speech. With Mars also transiting through the 8th house on the 5th of December, this can aggravate things. So you have to be really careful about how you treat others and how you're communicating with others. You have to be you have to tone down your speech because it can lead to some kind of complications in future. Do not get overboard and carried away with the investments, though Jupiter is casting its impact on Gemini sign also, which is ruled by Mercury. So this is definitely a saving grace, but not good for investments right now with Mercury in the 8th house. All right, you will be inclined, you want to invest, you want to just, do things beyond your limit, but this is not the right time. Just lie low. Okay, coming to the next sign, that is Taurus. For Taurus natives, being the lord of the 2nd and the 5th, Mercury is transiting your 7th house. So this will give you some kind of fault finding in people. You'll be suspicious kinds and you'll be communicating in a way where, you are not able to communicate your mind properly, or, you're deviating from what you want to convey. You're beating around the bush. So you have to formulate your sentences or your phrases well when you're communicating in your business, with your partner, or with the people around you. So you have to be really cautious with your words. You can go harsh, you can go little, you can deviate. You're not going to be in a very straightforward manner. So don't have a false ego. Be careful about your communication with the authoritative figures, or maybe the partner is going to be very authoritative with you. But this definitely is not good for initiation of education and romance also. Maybe there can be some confusion or some misunderstanding which can cause issues in your relationship later. So make sure that you don't get carried away in your relationship with the person you are in, you're dating. It can cause a lot of issues and troubles there. But yes, definitely health area you will be concerned more about, and you will be having some kind of stress which can lead to. So that is why you're focused on your, health also during this time. You should chant Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH 108 times every day, and you can donate something related to Mercury. Anything which is in green in color, you can donate. Green pulses, cereals, whatever you can donate, you should be doing that. All right, and it is definitely going to help you. Student natives should be careful if they are going to be sitting for some competition or they're going to be traveling. This will bring about travels also, but it will be a little cumbersome kind of a travel. But Mars is also going to be transiting out of the 6th house and going to be joining this. So there can be some miscommunication or aggression in your communication. Not a good time for investments. Huge investments are a big no-no. All right. Otherwise, this Mercury is going to get confused with this Ketu combination. So you have to be very careful and wise while making decisions. Some transits are really good. Some transits are giving mixed results, and definitely depending upon your personal chart, your dasha, antradasha, if you're having antradasha of Mercury, so it'll impact you definitely, right? So we should not, we should take it in a stride. Okay. Coming to the next sign, that is Gemini. Your Lagnesh is going to be transiting the 6th house and being the lord of the 4th also in the 6th house. So this will definitely enhance your communication skills with your co-workers, with your partners, with your business, with your colleagues. You're going to be having a lot of communication, and there can be some communication gap also. There can be some confusion. You're saying something, they're misinterpreting, and you're going to be landing up to some problems in your communication. So you have to be careful, and definitely this is not a bad placement because Mercury exalts in the 6th house of the natural zodiac. So you can be very affluent. You can meet affluent people during this time. Good time for loans if you have to take loans, or you want to buy some something out of that money which is not your money, it is other people's money. So this is going to be definitely positive. In case you want to go in for some kind of fitness regime, that is also going to be there, positive for you. And Mars is also going to be joining this Mercury and Sun on the 5th to 10th. Mercury is also going to be with Mars. So you have to tame those energies, don't get involved in any kind of litigation. There can be some disease related to skin, nerve, so blood. So you have to take care of all that. Eyesight trouble can happen because Sun is also there with Ketu. After all, this can lead to some health issues. Be careful. Being the 4th lord in the 6th house can lead to some complications with your mother, with the relatives. Communication gap can be there. So watch out. Some education, break in education, deviation from the path that you are on. So make wise, stay for some time before taking a call. Okay, I want to do this. I don't want to do this. So be more, give it some time before deciding about all these things, because Mercury is education also. Mercury is intellect, communication. So you can be more, verbal communications can lead to misunderstandings. So be careful about all those energies and you'll sail through this, because Mercury is after all with Ketu and Sun. Sun is combusting this Mercury also, is Astangata. Okay. Do the remedies, do the chant, Om GANPATYE Namo NAMAH Om for 108 times. I always give this chant for Ganesha chant, which is meant to be done for Mercury, and it's the safest chant. If you want to do a personalized chant, obviously you have to seek advice before chanting any other chants, because there are chants which have the Bij mantra or the Bij akshara, which you have to be really careful before chanting. So this is a safe chant, and I've done it myself, so I can donate the chant. You should not take the chant unless somebody has already done the chants themselves. The astrologers must have done the chant themselves before donating it. All right. And you should seek advice from an astrologer of your choice before doing a personalized chant. Okay. Coming to the next sign, that is Cancer. For Cancer natives, being the lord of the 12th and the 3rd, Mercury is going to be transiting your 5th house zone. So 5th house is going to be giving you some communication gap with your partner. There can be that you are having some arguments often with your siblings, with your neighbors, or maybe with your peers or your friends, teachers. Maybe, you're not able to understand things, clearly, because it's the house of intellect, and Mercury is with Sun combust, with Ketu eclipse Sun. So naturally, it derives its light from Sun, and this Mercury is weak here in the deep sign, in the scandalous sign, secretive sign of Scorpio. So you have to be really careful that you don't get carried away in the arguments and there is a miscommunication with your colleagues, with your partner, with your romantic partner, or you hurt others and you get injured yourself. You're playing some game, you get injured. That is also quite likely after the 5th, especially 5th to 10th. You have to be really careful. Speech related issues, stammering, if at all you have, that can aggravate during this time. Also, in case you're getting lured by the financials, by the investments. So this is the time when you have to be really lying low, because you can make wrong decisions about your investments also. After all, it's the 5th house zone, which is getting impacted. Rahu is in the 11th house of investments and fulfillment of desires. So this phase, because is, Mercury is conjunct Ketu. So we must be very cautious in these areas which are represented by Mercury: education, communication, logical reasoning, making decisions regarding investments, market trends, these are all going to be having spiky feelings, spiky. So you have to be really careful about your communication, especially, communication is like travels also. You can have problems in travels also. Maybe, your computer or your laptop just conks off suddenly and you are just in a fix what to do. So that is also quite likely, because the third lord is in the 5th house. So it can lead to some kind of complications related to communication. All right. So make sure that you do not deal with the foreigners, overseas people, or some kind of documentation that is to be done. You should avoid major documentation. You should avoid during this phase, of course. See, there are many transits happening. Some are good, some are not so good. So we must be receptive to all the transits. It's not that I give the negative prediction. It's not good. It's not good. I have to be very straightforward about it. I have to be upfront. Otherwise, how will I forewarn you? If at all it's giving good results, I do say that it's giving good results as well. But if it's not, it's not. So if you are thinking of doing something research oriented, very good transit for this. Anything related to mathematics, calculations, marketing, communication, if you are doing some research on that, this transit is a good transit. But if overall, any transit which is happening conjunct Ketu, Rahu, how can that be really good? Because Ketu isolates you. So you have to be really careful about your relationship, investments, speculative income. You have to be really careful about those things. You have to do Ganesha chant, Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH, so that your mind stays calm. You don't make any further decisions which lead to losses. All right. So just make sure that you do these chants, this chant for 108 times every day. All right. Coming to the next sign, that is Leo. So for Leo natives, Mercury is going to be transiting your 4th house, being the lord of your wealth giving places. That is your 2nd and 11th lord. So this is going to be a little difficult. Why this time? Because it's conjunct Ketu, combust also. So the wealth giving planet is afflicted. So what will it do? It will give you some upheavals in your financials, and that will cause worries to your family members, and it can lead to some childlike decisions that you can make and lose it, lose the money. So you have to be really careful. Don't make any hasty decisions. Be more matured and sensible before going into heavy investments, because maybe you make wrong choices about your job. Maybe you're not getting the kind of elevation you were looking forward to. So all these energies will be felt even more, and there can be some loss of happiness, and it can lead to anxiety also. Make some logical decision making, because it will give you some growth there, some success there. If at all you are pursuing some education, it can maybe give you some wrong decision making because of Ketu. So that's why I'm forewarning you, because it can lead to those things. So just be forewarned. Don't make decisions regarding your education, about your investments. You can maybe change the stream and then regret later. So be careful about, especially about your education. You might just want to change the place of abode. You are shifting out from the place you are. This can lead to some change also. Maybe you're leaving this place and moving to some other place. So this can lead to some issues in relationships. It can lead to issues in your real estate matters also. So you have to be careful while signing any kind of documents. It can lead to some negligence, which can cause to losses also. Some endeavors that you have already started in the previous house when Mercury was, then they are going to linger on to complete. So just be patient. If it is taking some time, don't lose heart, don't lose hope. It is going to complete, of course, when Mercury transits through your Sagittarius sign. So just give it some time. After 10 December, things will start falling in place. But do not get carried away in those areas which I've just mentioned. Also, do Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH chant for 108 times, and also donate things which are related to Mercury. Okay, green things, green clothes, donate. You should give. Only then, you will be able to get the good results of this Mercury transit. All right. Coming to the next sign, that is Virgo. Your Lagnesh and your 10th Lord is transiting through your 3rd house and is conjunct Sun and Ketu. this Mercury is Astangata, that is combust. Secondly, it is with Ketu. And Mars is also going to be joining on the 5th. So it's like double, triple the impact, the negative impact of this placement this time. All the transits don't give bad results. All the transits neither give good results. They always have something good and bad attached to their transits. Maybe, it gives you on personal level very good results if you're running through the dasha antardasha of some other planet, which is very well placed in your chart. But here, when Mercury is in the 3rd house, there is some problem related to your health, related to your communication, and also there can be that enemies try to pull you down. There can be that you are traveling and there are some hurdles and some deviation of path, you lose path. All that can also happen. That this can lead to some higher expenditures and problems and complications with the co-workers or authorities as well. That's why I'm forewarning you. It's not that I want to say negative myself, but I'm also part of this journey. Remember, I'm also one of these signs. So if there is some negative attached to a particular transit, it's my moral duty to tell you and forewarn you. So please take it in a stride. There are good transits also happening. Venus is well positioned. Jupiter is well positioned in your chart. So we must accept Mercury. Mercury is speech. Mercury is communication, intellect. Mercury is education, market trends, business, commerce, trade. So here, when Mercury is conjunct Ketu, being the lord of your Lagnesh, of course, it's a Lagnesh. So it can lead to some complications related to your health, related to your communication with the authorities. And at the place of work, you can have some communication gap with the co-workers also. You will say something, they will perceive it something else, mistakes. It can lead to documentation which is going wrong. So you have to be careful when you're doing certain things at the place of work. Maybe, your computer just conks off. It's not just that Mercury, when it goes retrograde, this happens. It's when Mercury is Astangata, is combust. And with Ketu, of course, Ketu eclipses Sun and Moon, Ketu and Rahu. So here, it's like double the impact because Mercury is combust, and to top it all, it's conjunct this Ketu. And Mars is also, mind you, joining. And there will be a close conjunction after 6 or 7 days with Ketu. So what will happen? That will be the time when there will be an explosive energy. So communication will be like, you can turn sour, you can turn very bitter with people. So, and your siblings can also, be very inimical towards you. So you have to be really careful about these energies during this transit. It's not just that I wish to speak something negative, but it is looking like that. But we must accept that there are certain positives also attached to every transit. So the best thing is that get involved in something research oriented, something which requires research. Do not just make decisions superficially, or do not make hasty decisions in impulse. Just give it some time, because it's a Scorpio sign after all. Do not get scandalous or do not get involved in any kind of gossips during this time. So all this you have to be very cautious about. Chant Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH every day, 108 times. It will help you. Do for your siblings. Do something good for your siblings, your neighbors, your colleagues, your co-workers. Help them. Take help from them, as well as, be reciprocal. Do things for others so that they also do for you. All right. Only then you will sail through all this, all these transits, what the planets are trying to convey. You should do that. Do not get carried away, lured by what people are saying. Okay, fine, let me go in for heavy investments because the other person is doing so. So that is something which is illogical, right? You have to be calculative. You have to see what is good for you. You yourself will be able to. So if Mercury is in this deep sign, it is coming to actually tell you something that is related to this. Your communication should not be in impulse. All right. It should be well planned. You should rephrase your words again and again when you're conveying it to others. All right. Coming to the next sign, that is Libra. For Libra natives, this Mercury is going to be transiting your 2nd house, being the lord of your 12th and your 9th. So travels, of course, travels on cards, but you have to be careful about your journeys. This can lead to some loss of confidence. This can lead to depletion of financials. Maybe you will be investing a lot and then you have losses. So you be careful, because Mercury is combust as well as with Ketu. It's going to be after 6-7 days conjoining Ketu in close vicinity to Ketu. So that's the time you have to be really careful about your speech, about your eating habits. You can maybe, not think logically during that time, especially. So you have to be careful about your communication with the people who actually are, especially at authority. They are holding some position, and you think that they are just nothing and nobody. So, or maybe somebody in the family, or your father-like figures. You are not paying attention to them. You're not listening to their advice. So that can also lead to some losses, and then you regret later that why I didn't listen to them. The aggression in speech will increase once Mars also joins it. You can have some speech related issues also, or the teeth region, you can have in the mouth region, you can have ulcers, or you can have mouth blisters. So you have to be really careful. Skin related issues also, skin, eye, all these you have to be really careful about. Dental issues can come up. Also something about your family, family values. You might just be putting yourself on that spot where you have missed out on your family values. You're not paying attention to that. Just go back and see what you are missing out on, that major link that is missing. So pay attention to that. Also, this is a favorable transit for travels, as I said, in case you have to go for some foreign journey or foreign education, that you can do, of course. Okay. And do the GANPATYE, Om GANPATYE Namo NAMAH chant for Om GANPATYE Namo NAMAH Om. You have to close it. Okay. You have to close the chant. And this is just a general chant. But if you want a specific chant, it has to be, because there are so many Bijakshar, so many Bij mantras, until unless you seek advice from the astrologer of your choice. And if that astrologer has done that chant himself or herself, only then, we are supposed to give the chant away. So just be careful that you take the chant, only those chants which the other person has already done. Only then they are going to be actually helpful. And of course, based on your chart, personalized chants should be done. All right. Coming to the next sign, that is Scorpio. For Scorpio natives, first house transit of Mercury being the lord of the 8th and the 11th. So first of all, you have to be taking care of your speech, your wealth, your investments. This is a transit where the precautions have to be taken, because Mercury is our speech, communication, trade, commerce, and education. So when Mercury is over your first house with Sun and Ketu, so this can lead to some problems related to your, loss of confidence in speech. You can maybe involved in some mischievous lawsuits, or you can maybe, get involved with bad company. Your expenditures, you have to be extra careful about. 8th house transit is happening over the first house, 8th house lord. So this can lead to some expenditures which actually are unwarranted for. You didn't call for them, but something happens. So this you have to be extra careful about. Don't go overboard in investments, and some communication gap with your partner can come up and lead to some kind of really, heaty arguments often. So Mars is also going to be joining. So there can be a lot of ego clashes. There can be a lot of aggressive and abusive kind of, fights with people. Be careful about all those energies and take care of your fevers, headaches, skin related troubles, eyesight related issues from the dates, obviously from the 21st of November till the 10th of December. So be careful about your money, about your financials, about investments, education, and also the relationships. Okay, the communication gap that you can have with the co-workers, your authorities, you have to be careful about. Do not sign any paper without reading them well. It's not retrogression of Mercury, but Mercury is conjunct Ketu, especially after 6 to 7 days from now, from the 21st, when the transit begins. There can be a lot of confusion. Okay, there can be misunderstandings that you can have. So just chant Om GANPATYE Namo NAMAH. There is always a way out. To all the transits, we have the divine there. So he is the one who is a savior, not the ones who are, on this earth. So just surrender. Only then you will be able to come out of the problems that you're in. All right. So this is going to be a very positive transit if you want to make it one. Remember, all the transits which are negative can also turn to be positive. A research-oriented mindset. If you think about anything deeply and not superficially, then this is a very good transit. If you're thinking and picking and choosing your words when you're communicating with the people around you, this transit is definitely positive. Don't be suspicious kinds. Watch out for the language that you're using. All right. Take care. Coming to the next sign, that is Sagittarius. For Sagittarius natives, this transit is happening over your 12th house. And 12th house means Mercury is getting weaker. It's in debility, as it's a place there with Ketu and Sun combination also being the Lord of your 7th and the 10th. So some communication gap at the place of work, some expenditures on rise. It can also lead to some kind of skin troubles, some confinement, hospitalization also. Communication can become very rough with people. Something that you have already, planned, traveling abroad, or maybe something to do with your, some overseas clientele, projects with overseas people, all that is going to be little delayed kind of a thing. It is not that it'll never happen, but whatever you've planned, this might differ because of Sun combusting this Mercury, and Sun himself is eclipsed because of Ketu combination, Rahu Ketu axis. So this is the reason, when you have to make decisions regarding your authorities, regarding your projects, regarding your investments. So you should be very cautious during this period. It's not that it's going to be really bad a phase. You can also turn it towards your favor, in your favor, by picking and choosing as to what you want to do. Give it some time. Do not get carried away. In case you have to go in for some visa, documentation, or any kind of PR application of any kind of educational qualification you want to add to. So all these things will happen, but you have to be very cautious. You have to pick and choose your subjects, your investments. You can't just go overboard without deciding, without having that kind of mental frame. You just take decisions and then they backfire. Some investments that you want to make, and then they are not actually the right kind of investments that you are making. All those decisions happen after 6-7 days of the transit from the 21st onwards. 6th, 7th day, especially when Mercury and Ketu will be closely conjunct. That's the time when you will make some wrong decisions. It's going to be very closely conjunct Sun first after the 5-6 days time, and then Ketu. So these are actually the timings you have to be really careful about your communication. Maybe there can be some kind of problems in relationship, in temperamental issues that you can have with your colleagues, with your partner, with your life partner. Just a forewarning, I don't want to do all this. I don't want to say all this that as if I'm making all this happen. No, it's just that these are not so good transits, so we should be prepared. That's the only moral duty that I follow. And we must focus on the good transits which actually save us. And that there's always a divine help that comes to us towards the maybe end, but we do all go through that. Definitely, we all have that. We surrender and we get it, isn't it? So just don't do the chants unnecessarily without taking it. The Dikshit, people who are actually into the chants, they should only give you the chants, the personalized chants. So what is the chant that we can do during this transit? The general chant is Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH Om. Or you can donate something related to Mercury, something in green pulses or green, clothes, anything which is related to Mercury. You can just donate and you will feel better, and you will be able to make wise decisions wisely. All right. Mars is also going to be joining. So, you can spend on electronic gadgets, or you can have some cold, cough, fever, eyesight troubles, speech related issues. You can have some, your energies are very isolated kind of energies also. So that's why, this is the house of travels, hospitalization, imprisonment also. Mercury and Mars and Ketu combination gives skin rashes also. So be careful. All right. So do the chants. I'm sure this will minimize the impact. All right. Coming to the next sign, that is Capricorn. For Capricorn natives, being the Lord of the 6th and 9th, Mercury is going to be transiting your 11th house. So you have to be careful about your mainly about your comforts and enjoyments and investments and travels. You have to be really working through the transit well, because it's after all Ketu and Sun energy here. So you will invest somewhere and then you will regret. So what is the best part about it? That you are being forewarned by VL, right? So don't take me otherwise if I'm just telling something negative. It's not that it's going to happen for sure. It's a general statement that I'm making here. So if it is not good, it is not advisable to make investments. So be cautious. Maybe in your horoscope, it's not that bad. Maybe you're having the dasha of the good planets and it saves you. Of course, the savior is bigger, right? It's expansive. So Jupiter is in your second house. It will definitely help you save money. So maybe, you will be investing in your advice to invest somewhere, but, Jupiter saves you, right? So take it in a stride, take it positively, that there can be some complications which can come up with your authorities, with your co-workers. You can go a little aggressive, or maybe you can have some communication gap with your friends, with your authoritative figures, or you can have a wrong advice from your relatives or your friends. And then you regret later why I did this, listening to them. And also, this is considered to be not a good placement for romance, romantic, if you are in a romance or love affair. So this is not considered to be good. Maybe there can be some confusion in your communication. There can be some communication gap. You want to enjoy the people's company, but this Ketu will not let you. So after 4-5 days of this transit, you will have Mercury deep combustion with Sun. So this will lead to some kind of communication gap with authorities. There can be some harshness in your speech. So be careful, or you can go haywire in your investments. Ketu conjunction after 6-7 days would be there, deep conjunction. So you have to be careful about your decision making regarding your education, investments, and your expenditures, also on your gadgets. So be careful about these. Do the chant Om GANPATYE NAMAH Om for 108 times, and donate something in greens, anything in green color clothes, or you can green dal, that is pulses, cereals, whatever, you can donate, you should be donating. And you can teach also, because Mercury is education, right? So you can teach somebody something, or you can just give advice to people who are trying to invest. So you can just hold them off, or you can just help them if you are you're a pro in this, so you can help them. Okay, that's also sort of a donation, isn't it? So coming to the next sign, that is Aquarius. For Aquarius natives, Mercury is going to be transiting your 10th house, being the lord of the 8th and 5th. So this is a partial yogkara graha. It's not a bad planet, because being the lord of the 8th, it doesn't get the dosha. But yes, it's in the Kendra with the malefic planets. So this definitely is not good for your communication with your authorities, with the co-workers. So this will give a lot of confusion. So be careful. Don't leave the job right now in case you're thinking of, or you're planning to, or you're maybe going in for some huge investments. Not a right time. This is a short transit from 21st November to the 10th December. Just hold your horses. Do not get carried away. You might just change your stream. You're in a particular stream and you want to just change it. Suddenly you want to, you decide about your, investments or your education, and then it just backfires. You want to start some relationship, and then, you have some communication gap and you could not. So that can also happen. So the best is Om GANPATYE NAMAH chant 108 times every day, or you can donate something in greens, which will really help you. Something related to green dal, or, green pulses, as we say, and then some green clothes. Or you can donate your wisdom, your intellect, your education. Okay, you can just enroll yourself on a platform where you teach a child, educate a child. That is also something which you can do. That's a very good remedy for Mercury. Okay, if there is Mercury dasha also running and Mercury is not well positioned in your chart, so this transit is definitely going to be more impactful to you. It is definitely going to be required, and this remedy is required. Of course, for the personalized remedies and the chants, you should seek advice from any kind of astrologer that you want to, but you should not do the chants which are having Bij Akshara or Bij mantras. So that is something which requires personalized remedy, a personalized chanting. Otherwise, it is going to give you bad effects also. I've seen, because, we open the chakras, but we don't shut them. So we have to, that's why the Om in the beginning and the Om in the end is required in these kind of chants that I give, the general chants also. Okay, so it is powerful. It is definitely impactful and powerful to do those chants. Okay, there can be some kind of investments which you will make and they will not be favorable. Although Venus is in the 11th house, and but your Saturn is in the 12th house, being the Lagnesh, so it's in the 12th house from there. So it is also not considered to be that great if at all you're running through the dasha of Saturn also, or Antara dasha of Saturn. So you have to be very careful about your expenditures. It might just be that you are confined. If you don't confine, then the Saturn is not happy. So you have to confine yourself, in your expenditures, in your investments. Coming to the last sign, Pisces. So for Pisces natives, Mercury is going to be transiting your 9th house, being the ruler of your 4th and the 7th. So in the 9th house, this will give you some inclination towards travels. You will be maybe shifting out from the place where you are. You're going to be having a lot of work pressure. There are targets that you have to meet. And this person who is having this dasha also of Mercury will have a lot of communication gap and confusion here, because Mercury is going to be very closely conjunct after a few days with Sun, and it will be Astangata, will become Bast. So any kind of investments, any kind of travels, any kind of change of place is a big no-no during this time, because then Mercury will be conjunct Ketu after 6-7 days time. So this is considered to be a little difficult it can lead to financial losses, and it can lead to loss of your position also. Be careful. Thankfully, Venus is transiting your Kendra. Jupiter is also well positioned, So this is something which can lead to some travels, some investments, but at the same time, it can lead to some kind of losses also. So you have to be really very careful as to what you should do, where you should invest, how you can make money out of money, rather than, getting burdened, by somebody, or, cornered by people and making decisions which backfire. So be careful about those energies. If you are a research-oriented mindset, definitely a very positive transit. For relationships, you have to be really careful about, some kind of communication gap can happen, and that can lead to some kind of separation also. Be careful. Not the right time to change the place of abode. Maybe you can defer it after the 10th of December. Mars is also going to be joining here. So this is going to be a very aggressive kind of energy that you can have. Maybe with your father-like figures, you can have problems. Your mindset changes. You want to think big, think, look at the bigger picture, visiting religious places. All these are on your mind. But at the same time, this Mercury is going to be conjunct one by one these planets, which are negative planets, or which are malefic planets. So Sun is Krur and Sun is also eclipsed. So this is not the time to make any kind of decisions related to your authorities, investments, education, travels. Be careful. Business, commerce, trade. You might have some, a communication gap with your business partner also. So make right kind of choices. Not all transits are good. Not all transits are bad either. So you have to be very careful about the transits which are giving a little bit of negative impact. So that's the reason I make these videos, to forewarn you guys. So make sure that you do the chant Om GANPATYE NAMO NAMAH for 108 times, and add Om towards the end as well to close the chant. All right. Stay blessed, everyone. Om Tat Sat.